it's really sad anytime one of our heroes of the 70s that raced Speedway, they pass away. You know, a lot of these people were beloved by many, and they were our heroes, and we cheered for them. We wanted them to win the races. I've experienced in life, it moves so fast. It moves on with us, it moves on without us. Life just continues to move no matter what we do or what we say. And it's just so sad when these people pass, and we knew these people and we love these people in our own way. And life is just so short, so fragile. Today we honor the life of a very exceptional Speedway rider, and that's number 14. One of the first famous number 14s. There's a few others that have followed, like Billy Gennaro and Eddie Castro. But Jeff Sexton was one of the first number 14s. Perhaps one of Jeff's major accomplishments was back in the 74 United States Speedway Nationals at the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds. The boring Costa Mesa. And Jeff, he finished second place in the Nationals, and he missed winning the Nationals by 6 feet. That's 2 meters. Jeff Sexton nearly won that championship, and he was a good sport. It must be heartbreaking to lose a national championship by only 6 feet. And he was in a couple of Speedway Nationals, and that was definitely his best finish. He beat Mike Bass, who was in third place in that particular event, and the winner was Steve Bass, and that was Steve's final United States Speedway Nationals. We know that Steve was also an awesome rider, and he was fast, and they all celebrated the victory. Jeff Sexton included, with Mike, the brother of Steve. They were celebrating the victory, the United States Championship. Jeff Sexton was known for his hardcore riding. He was a competitor, you know, with Steve Bass. Jeff Sexton was one of the fierce competitors of Speedway back in the day. And they both were 1 and 2 in that 74 National Championship. But he was a fierce rider. He started his riding in Montclair, California, over by Ontario, Southern California. I think his papa owned a Mako shop. And the Makos were doing well back in the early days. However, the Japanese motorcycles came, and they kind of put those Braco Makos out of business. You know, the Makos had a reputation of braking. That's why they called them Braco Makos. But they were great bikes, and they were fast. And I apologize if you like the Makos. But Jeff Sexton just was an early day TT rider, and he was just a great athlete in motorsports. He had a serious future in racing. Jeff was only 16 years old. He had this horrible accident. He broke a bunch of vertebrae in his back, I think 3 of them, and he broke his spine, his spleen, and he was in the hospital for a long time. And Jeff Sexton, he was a determined racer. The doctor gave him a 50-50 chance of ever walking again. However, Jeff Sexton was going to prove those doctors wrong, that he could get up and not only walk, but he could go ahead and compete for that 74 United States Speedway Championship. Jeff Sexton was only a young rider, like a first-year rider, only 16 years old. But he just had that fierceness, that ferocity to keep pushing, to keep plowing through things, and to keep making success as a Speedway rider. Another great success in Jeff's career was in '76, a couple years after that national championship. He was voted the team captain for the 76 Speedway League, National Speedway League. He was picked by Digger Helm to race on the Bakersfield Bandits, and he was a team captain along with Dub Farrell and Steve Nutter. They had the league winning team of that one-year event of the Speedway League. And the Bakersfield Bandits, they did really well. You know, Digger, he prepared that track excellent. He made it a blue groove. I rode that track. It's a beautiful, hard blue groove track. You use those 19-inch Carlisles, and that track just was beautiful, and it rode great. And the Bakersfield Bandits, led by Jeff Sexton, they only lost 1 or 2 meets all year at that particular track in Bakersfield. And like I say, Jeff Sexton was the team captain of the Bakersfield Bandits. And it was just a great program. And they beat the LA Sprockets by just a match or two. But it was exciting. And that was the only year they had the National Speedway League in America. I guess the people wanted to see the star riders every night. And then the team racing folded after that, and they never had brought it back. But Jeff Sexton was a successful rider. I believe he was finished 4th in points, and he was just behind Bruce Penhall, Mike Bass, Dangerous Dub Farrell, his teammate, and he was 4th place in points out of the whole league. So Jeff Sexton was a phenomenal speedway rider. I personally never met Jeff Sexton, and I believe I never raced against him, but he was just a fierce competitor. He was a hard charger. I used to watch him as a little boy, and I just remember how good of a rider he was. He was always charging for the lead. He didn't win every race, but you knew Jeff Sexton would be close. He'd be pushing it, and he would be competing for that victory. So Jeff Sexton was no slouch. He competed every time that he went out and raced. I believe he raced in the 75 Speedway Nationals at the Los Angeles Coliseum.
The United States Speedway Championship. Here is America's most exciting motorsports announcer, Larry Huffman. Thank you. The track you're seeing now is 350 yards around the surface on the outside, 270 yards on the pole. It's a 1-foot surface of decomposed granite with approximately 30 tons of dirt mixed in on the top. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go now. What you've been waiting for all night long, and the introduction of the riders. They come out first. The big man, 275, Jim Fishback. The Boogaloo Kid, Bumblebee, Bobby Schwartz. From Valve, Ohio, number 45, Bruce Penhall. 31, Wild Bill Cody. Number 34, Scott City. Number 23 again, Rolling Rich McMurray. Number 19, he says the louder you yell, the faster I'll go. Signer.
And he did all these modifications to his bike, and I think they didn't work very well. He only won 1 race, and he only ended up with like 5 or 6 points or something like that. He didn't really do that well. He went in that particular event thinking he was going to win the championship, and his night pretty much fizzled. Didn't do very well, and that was one of his last Speedway Nationals. But Jeff Sexton was a hard charger. He had 3 major sponsors. One was Select Vans, I believe it was Anaheim. And the next sponsor, which I had the same sponsor as Jeff, was Torco Oil. Fabulous oil, Torco. I believe they're still in business. You know, my engine ran forever without blowing up or running on Torco oil. And the power of my engine was very strong. And Jeff's engine was very strong with that Torco oil. It was a fantastic oil, and I highly recommend that particular oil. It's not the largest name oil, but it was excellent. And then the third sponsor that he had was Bell Helmets. and he had some advertisement for Bell helmets, and I believe he got us some money, got free helmets for racing with Bell helmets. But Jeff Sexton was a phenomenal rider, and he was top of the class, one of the great speedway riders of the 1970s, Jeff Sexton. I read this article once about Jeff Sexton. He said, I want to be a world champion. You know, like I said, he had that determination. I have no idea why Jeff never went to England and raced. He was definitely good enough to go over and race on the British League, possibly compete for a world championship. But something happened, you know. Maybe he didn't ride the long tracks as good as he thought he would, because he didn't do very well in the 75 Nationals, and he never went to England. But Jeff Sexton, if he put his mind to something, he probably could be very successful. Like many of the stars of the early days 70s Speedway, Jeff was a regular on the circuit. He raced on like the 50-yard line, and he was in all the handicap races. And Jeff Sexton was a regular on the circuit. He raced 5 nights a week, all the tracks, and he just was a hard charger. And he was a very successful, very determined young man. Jeff Sexton was a loving father and husband to his wife, Lori, and he had children, and he just was a good guy. You know, Jeff would always be around the house. He would be helping people. He'd just be doing things that was cool. He was a good person. I would have definitely liked to meet Jeff. But sadly, September 3rd, 2007, he had passed away, sadly. We lost a true hero, a legend in Jeff Sexton. He took his own life, which was very sad to hear. At age 52, Jeff Sexton passed away, and he just was an unbelievable talent and too young to pass away. Like we mentioned, a lot of our favorite speedway riders of the 70s are gone for various reasons. And Jeff Sexton did have a short life at age 52, and we're so sad. And lots of people in the area where he lived was sad. They had memorials in the papers, and Jeff Sexton was truly beloved by many. And he has a wonderful family, a wonderful wife. Lori is still a friend of mine, and we chat every once in a while. And although we don't talk about Jeff every day, but she was a very loving wife and a good person, Lori Sexton. If you appreciate the shows, we honor these people who have fallen. And please don't be upset at the titles of these shows, but we want to honor the fallen speedway riders who had passed away, and we appreciate them so much. And that's why we do these shows, to remember them, remember their name, and remember the great joy they brought into our lives. So please subscribe, like this show, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate the wonderful life of number 14. That was sexy Jeff Sexton. Rest in peace.